Welcome to How to Become a Person of Interest with my good buddy, Coach Micheal Burt. Coach, dude, you look fit. You look, smart. You look sexy. You look
Man,
like, dude. Person of interest is not only taking care of their sales skills in their business, but they're taking care of their whole body.
yeah, and we'll get into that today because you don't
Okay.
want to you don't want to disqualify yourself, right? The way you feel about your body, the way you feel about you is directly tied to your confidence. And people of interest are not arrogant, but they're incredibly confident. So thank you for that. It's good to notice that other people notice it.
Dude, I've been hitting the gym. I'm trying to get in shape myself, so I'm right there with you. So, well, buddy, we had about close to 500 agents register for this. A lot of people want to be a person of interest. So thank you to all of you that are on right now. This is being recorded. Also, we got some freebies that Coach is going to drop throughout this. To introduce Coach, if he even needs an introduction at this point, I don't even have anything written down because I'm like, dude, I know this guy like the back of my hand now. I don't have nothing written down. Coach has been influential in my life. He spoke on 10X stage. He's buddies with some big names. He's coaching some massive companies. He's coaching a lot of people in the insurance industry. And he's just an overall good dude. There's people in your life that when you meet them and you work with them, you're like, I want to be around that person more. And for me, that's always been the case when I talk about Coach, and hopefully that's been the case when he talks about me. And if not, I need to step up my person of interest score. Which we're going to talk about today. And that's important. And that's why I'm super excited for this webinar today specifically, because what he's going to talk about today is what I've been trying to do over the last 4.5 years, heavy, and going from a 0 POI score, Coach, to maybe I'm a 5 now, and I want to eventually get to a 10. It takes a lot of hard work, and I'm excited to kind of go through that concept today because it's something everybody needs. In the insurance industry, if people can reach out to you to do business with you, it's a lay down sell.
Yeah, I think if you really understand the concept, the concept of being famous, right? I live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and people come to Nashville to become famous. Well, if you look up the word famous, it means known, renowned, celebrated, right? And when you become famous, you become known. So I start this off really, Cody, with a belief. My belief is the people who are the most known get the most opportunity. They get the most leads. They get the most deal flow. And what we're really trying to do with this concept, which is probably 10 years in the making, by the way, I really wrote this book way ahead of its time. And it's really over the last 10 years, I've refined it and tweaked it. And I've really said, man, why would you not want to become a person of interest? Like deep within us is the desire to be known. It's a desire to count. It's a desire to do something meaningful. It's a desire to do something remarkable, right? So other people talk about it.
Yeah. Where does that come from? Because I think you're not getting on this webinar unless you actually want to be known. Why do people want to be known? Why do people want to do something big in the world? I don't think everyone does, but certain people do, and I wonder, like, where did that come from for you?
I think very early in my life, I became known as a good athlete, right? And a lot of our desire to become known is because of the attention we get. We crave approval. We crave attention. We crave other people to notice us. So for me, early on, I quickly figured out I was small. I was slow. I wasn't that athletic, but man, I was a good baseball player. And when I was a good baseball player, I got a lot of attention. Coaches would talk to me. Other people would talk to me. And then when I was in high school, I was a good point guard, but I also was in a National Honor Society where I ran for office, and I got a lot of attention when I ran for office, and I got to do speeches and then I went to college, Cody, and I was an unknown. It was terrible. I was at a college with 23,000 people and nobody knew me. Nobody, like I walked around, and it was a terrible feeling of like, I went from being known, big fish in a little pond, to a little fish in a big pond. And I remember being so insecure, like it really took a hit on my confidence. And then I became known for being a championship basketball coach. And then I became known for speaking and coaching and writing books and getting on stages like 10X. So I think if you really get down to the psychology of it, Cody, I think there's an exchange happening between when we're known, we get a good feeling, we get good feedback from the world, right? When you're becoming known as the person that put on this big 8% Nation conference and one of the leading people in the insurance space, and you're building your own brand, really people recognize you. Man, there's nothing cooler in the world than being recognized for your talents. You know, that's the concept of being famous. I mean, if you watch the Michael Jordan documentary, Jordan became so famous he couldn't go anywhere without people knowing who he was. When Donald Trump ran for president, 96% of Americans said they knew who he was, right? So that's a ridiculous number. So I want to draw a correlation here between when you become this person of interest, you are now in a position of strength. You are now have a strong negotiating position. You now have people that want you. You are not having to chase leads. You are the buyer versus the seller. And that is an incredibly powerful place to be in, especially in the insurance space. You're living in a commoditized world. You're selling a commoditized product. There is many times no separation between the product or what the perceived value of the product is to the consumer. If you don't become a known entity, you're just selling a commodity.
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt. And that's what everybody craves, you know. And then at some point, you believe in what you're doing so much that you start putting your freaking logo on T-shirts and polos and socks, you know, and everything
I don't
else.
even have socks, man. I don't even have socks. I'm disappointed. Mel's in here. I'm gonna give me some stock. Give me some underwear.
Come on, Mel.
Sell some monster boxer shorts.
That's right. There you go. Hey, you know what? That T-shirt right there, the Monster Producer T-shirt, that's my go-to T-shirt that I wear when I play pickleball. I don't know if you know that, but it's so comfortable. I wear that with some black sweatpants when I play pickleball, and I freaking love that T-shirt, man.
No, I didn't know that, but I love this T-shirt too. And I don't wear T-shirts a lot. I wear a lot of pullovers to the office, especially on what I would consider my backstage days. And I have front stage days where I dress up and wear suits and all those things. But when I'm coaching my team. I'm coaching a lot of people through webinars today. You know, I'm a coach, man. I have on Nike coaching pants, and I have on, you know, that's who I am. That's my brand. So,
Right.
you know, but yeah, it's nice to have some good, comfortable tees to wear around every now and then.
Absolutely. Well, as we go through this concept today, and as this gets your guys' attention and everybody that's on, and really piques your interest in what is person of interest, how can I become more of one? Andy went ahead and attached the link in the chat to where you can actually download the person of interest book from Coach Burt today while we're on this. So thank you for including that.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you can get the hardback copy there too. I think we'll give you the book. You pay for the shipping, but you can get the hardback copy of the book and or the paperback copy of the book, whichever. And it's a short book, but man, it's out of all the books that I've written, it is one of the most impactful concepts I have ever created. And I created it, Cody, because when I started my business, I was taught to chase leads, try to convince people to do business with me. And the first couple of years, man, it was miserable. You know, I felt like I had something valuable for companies. I felt like I had something valuable for people, but it just sucked chasing people. And I wrote down on a napkin 3 words at breakfast one morning: person of interest. I want to become an interesting person. I want my phone to ring, my schedule to be booked. I want to be in demand. I want to come to my office. I want to have a personal assistant that has to manage my schedule. You know, and if you ask Mel Cole, my personal assistant, I asked her one day, how much time do you spend in just handling my schedule? And what did you say, Mel? 8 hours a day, maybe? She said basically 8 to 10 hours a day. All I do is try to fit everything in for you, coach. And we measure how many incoming requests that we get. See, all the people that are watching this in insurance space, the way you know what your person of interest score is it high or is it low, is based on incoming demand. Not you calling and telling people how great you are. That's a part of the sales cycle. But literally, when you get to a person of interest status, there should be requests for your time, requests for your energy, requests for you to speak, requests for you to be on podcasts, requests for you to be there. And if you're getting, let's just say I'm getting 30 a day times 5 is 150 a week. You know, I would tell you that's not even enough. I'd like to have 1,000 a week. You know, where I'm picking and choosing what I do and what I don't do, and where I go and what I don't do. And, you know, that's really person of interest. You literally become the buyer versus the seller. Now we'll get into how you do that, but that's the concept, is let's quit chasing. Early on in our careers, we have to chase, we have to convince, we have to hard sell, we have to, but at some point we want to flip the script and we want to become that valuable asset that people can't live without. I want, you know, like Cody, I won't say, man, I can't imagine I haven't coached in my life. Like
Yeah.
I was just coaching, you know, Grant Doherty and James down in Vero Beach, you know, a few minutes ago. And I want those guys to say, man, that dude is an asset to us. Like if we cut everything, we ain't cutting him, right? Like it's a must have versus a nice to have. An insurance person can become this. Like the insurance guy can become a must have versus a nice to have if he just knows how to play his cards right and be valuable to the people that he services. Okay.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to kind of dive into that today because we're going to have a ton of insurance people on here specifically, and even some outside of insurance. And as this grow, you know, please feel free to add questions as we go through this. I know Coach has some different concepts and things he wants to talk about. I'm sure I'll have some things that come to mind as we, you know, continue to go down this road. One of my good buddies, Bradley Hannon, just jumped in chat and said, "How do you walk that line between person of interest and staying humble?" That's such a good question.
Well, I think people of interest are confident. That's one of the characteristics. There's 8 characteristics of people of interest. And since you asked, I'll go through those. People of interest have ingredients. Okay. Meaning when you cook, I don't cook very well, but my wife's a great cook. And I asked her one day, if you miss just one ingredient, will it mess up the whole dish? And she's like, absolutely. Like you can't miss one ingredient, right? Well, people of interest are kind of the same way, is they have ingredients. Okay. So they have knowledge, but I'm going to add a descriptive to that: specific knowledge, niche knowledge. They're not generalist, they're specialist. There's a reason the heart surgeon makes more money than a general practitioner. There's a reason people that have a niche expert earn more income than general people. Okay. So people of interest have very specific niches. They got very specific knowledge. Okay. My knowledge isn't how to activate the prey drive in a person or in a team. That's what I spent my whole life doing. It's a very specific knowledge about how to activate a drive in people. Okay. They also have skill, but they don't just have general skill. They have impeccable skills. Now, Cody's had the privilege of spending time with some of the biggest people in the world in the self-development space. And I guarantee you, when he's around them, he's figured this out. The dudes that are at the top of their game are good. And when I say good, they're not kind of good. They're not average. They don't have subpar skills. They have incredible skills. Some of them are selling machines. Some of them are great at making you feel like $1 million. Some of them are incredible communicators. Some of them are incredible motivators or activators, but he's been around some of these people to see that they are not just average cats. Their skill set has been refined over long cycles of time. When you're in their presence, it's like, dang, that dude's good, right?
Yeah.
Like you've seen people in different settings, like you've been with me in different settings. Yeah.
On that note, right? On that note, I attribute, well, you know, we've been going through this virus. I attribute the last 2 months, 2.5, 3 months of production and focus. Every company we have has doubled. And if I look back, January and February, you and I spent a lot of time together.
Yep.
Right. I also went to 10X and got to hang out with Grant Cardone and his team a little bit, right? Like you said, and Nate Offert's event. People like Nate will get you freaking jacked up, right? Yep. We were on you and I spoke at a couple of events together. We were on a cruise together. We rode from Miami to Vero together. It was literally, we were at the lodge together. Like it was literally, we were at North Star's event together. Like literally for like 2 weeks, we saw each other probably 10 days. You know, and eventually you're like, this dude, is he stalking me, or is he, you know, or is he just this serious, man? What's going on? But to your point,
well,
totally.
Yeah, the point is you get to see people in different settings, and you get to see their skills. How do they communicate with different people? How do they win over an audience? How do they connect? How do they tell stories? How do they, like when you see big time people do their thing, man, their skills are so powerful.
To your point, and to recognize your skill and talent, when we were on that drive, Lakin was driving. We were going from Miami to Vero Beach to go to SLS, and I remember you're freaking dude. You're talking to customers. You're making sales calls. You know, like you're activity was so high during that time. And in my office, my activity's extremely high and I get a ton done. But when I'm on the road, it's not as high as it needs to be. And looking at that, I'm like, all right, he's making me look bad. It's time to step up my game. I can't let coach outdo me.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that, to this point, I don't think money buys you freedom. I think skills buys you freedom.
Yeah.
The stronger your skill is, for every person that's on here watching this today, your income is in direct proportion to how good your skill is. Okay. And the stronger your skill is, you're not selling insurance, you're selling a set of beliefs. You're selling a connection. You're selling, I'm a must have in your life versus a nice to have. You're selling the ability to network with people. So people of interest have, right, specific knowledge. They have impeccable skill. They have very high desire or prey drive. What we talk about a lot, it's a new book I'm writing called Flip the Switch. I've never met a lazy person of interest. Okay. Now, Brad Lee and I debate this because Brad Lee said that he's lazy and he's a person of interest. But I said, man, I see you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I see you work all day on Saturday. I see you at your office on Sunday. I see you doing, but like you may think you're lazy, but you ain't lazy. I have never personally met a lazy person of interest. It takes high levels of desire to become a person of interest. You have to go to things you don't want to go to, do things you don't want to do, show up at things, network, like it's work. Okay. I think I told you I spent 2 days with Chuck McDowell down in Florida because his house is close to my house. I didn't plan on that. I plan on going down there, Cody, and hanging out by myself and just doing my own thing for 2 or 3 days. And these turned into 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 hour networking events with he and I. Right? Because when a guy running $100 million company calls you, you don't say, no, I don't want to come over. Right. It's inconvenient to be a person of interest is what I'm trying to tell you. Success is inconvenient. Okay. So people of interest have a high desire. They want to be known. They want to become renowned. They want to be celebrated. They want to matter. They want to do something big in the world, man. Legendary.
Yes.
Like I'm tired of playing small. They also have, to your question of your gentleman that asked the question, they have a contagious confidence. Now, there is a difference between confidence and arrogance. I would consider you very humble. I would consider me very humble. I'm going to use another word, authentic. I believe I can learn anything from anybody, anywhere, anytime. I don't care how much money they make. I don't care where they're from. I don't care what their background is. I learn things from my 7-year-old daughter. I learn things from people that earn less money than me. I earn things from people that earn more money than me. So I think it comes through when the crossover is when you become arrogant. Arrogant is when your self-appraisal is much greater than your market value. Your market value is here, but you think you're here. Now, don't get me wrong. We have all overappraised ourselves before. I've overappraised my skill set. We all have. That's a human nature thing. We tend to overvalue how important we are. Okay. And if you study the laws of human nature, which I have extensively with Robert Greene, we all, but if we don't believe in ourselves, who else is going to believe in us? Right. So there's a fine line between being really confident and being arrogant. Arrogant is the turnoff. Arrogance when you talk about yourself. Arrogant is when you are internally focused on you. That's arrogance. Okay. Confidence is where I have an internal knowing I can create this, I can manifest. And that confidence is attractive. So remember, people of interest attract people to them. Okay. Think of them as people of advancement. They leave you with the impression of increase. Okay. When you're around big time people, Cody, you think bigger.
Yes.
Right. You got the vision of doing 8%, which I'm going to be speaking at on this concept. I'm going to be breaking this concept deeper at 8%. You got this concept by going to 10X. You sat on the front row. That's where I met you and your wife. I mean, so what happened is you're there going, I can play bigger. I can think bigger, right? It gave you a shot of confidence. So you came home and you changed, man. So people of interest have knowledge, skill, desire, confidence. Okay, those are 4 key ingredients of all people of interest. And if you're watching this, you may be saying, man, I'm struggling in this area, I'm struggling in that area, which is why you need a coach in your life. A coach will quickly diagnose where your missing structure is.
Absolutely.
People of interest also have likability, which is energy, right? It's why I smile a lot. I'm upbeat, I'm positive, I'm intense, but I'm positive because I understood the power of attitude, having a good attitude, toward other people, being friendly, being inviting. I guarantee you probably have speakers at your conference that were rude to people, mean to people. You're like, man, that dude or that woman, we ain't never having them back because they got a bad attitude.
Right.
So my point to you is, we got knowledge, we got skill, we got desire, we got confidence, we got likability. Another word for likability is energy. You got good energy, man. You're open, you're inviting. You also have connectivity. When I wrote the book, it wasn't focused on internet connectivity, although it was focused on you can connect to anybody, anywhere, anytime. Okay, I can connect to a person in Springfield, Missouri, or I can connect to a person in New York City. I can connect to farmers, or I can connect to millionaires. That's connectivity. But in today's world, it's, and Hank Norman said this to me, being famous today is not about being in the movies. It's about how many people feel connected to you. Okay? How many people feel connected to you? It's coming a flood here now. I don't know if you hear that.
I
Okay, good. It's coming a big rain. It's sitting down on the roof here. Now,
coming down.
so here's my point, and I thought that's a great person of interest concept. Cody Askins doesn't have to be in the movies today to be famous. You don't have to have a TV show to be famous. I can feel connected to you on Instagram, Cody. I can watch you on YouTube and you can become famous. I can follow up with you and you can become famous. You understand what I'm saying? So connectivity in today's world is, how do people connect to you? How do they feel connected to you? And then they've got deep networks, and finally what I would call a free prize. Deep networks is people that earn small incomes have small networks of people. People of interest have got deep networks. So you've seen me build relationships with guys like Tim Grover, Tim Story, you know, big time people, Kevin Elko, Cardone. You've seen me build relationships with some of the biggest names in the world. And that's because that raises your person of interest score. You follow what I'm saying? Who you run with raises your person of interest score. And then finally, they've got a free prize, and a free prize is something that's unique about you. Something that I can't get with anybody else. Like, out of all the insurance people out there, there's something that you have that I just don't think I can get anywhere. Like, my real estate agent is a good example. He helps me buy and sell real estate. He also gives me his emotional support. He also is a tremendous advocate for me. So he signs up all kinds of people for my coaching program. He fights for me. He makes sales calls for me. He's my real estate agent. But that's valuable for me. So that's a free prize to me. I don't just get the real estate, I get the extra. And that's what you guys got to be thinking, like, what do people get with me that's extra? So those are the ingredients of people of interest.
Well, one of the things you mentioned a second ago too with desire is, or you mentioned in the past, and it came to mind, was how someone that wants to do something big in the world, that they wake up hungry, like they haven't ever accomplished anything before. Like in your example, extremely well known, very large company, spoke at 10x, right? Amazing team, like a lot of really good things going for you from all angles. But you probably still wake up thinking, gosh, I know I can do so much more, you know? And I used to worry, and I know a lot of people listening to this right now are probably thinking the same thing. I used to think that I would wake up and I'd be like, wow, what have I done? You know?
Yeah.
I
Well,
know
I think, yeah, I wake up like that every day. I mean, it's all relative, right? Like what I've done in my life, I was thinking of the moments, and I would challenge every person who's watching this webinar today, and every person who watches the replay, think of moments in your life that you've done something legendary. And I was thinking back, like, what have I done in my life in 43 years of living on planet Earth that I would consider legendary?
It's good.
Like when I won a championship as a basketball coach at a school that had never won one in 30 years, standing in the middle of that floor in front of 10,000 people, being number one, that was legendary, right? Speaking at 10x to 10,000 people at Mandalay Bay with the biggest people in the world, that was legendary, right? I mean, there's certain moments in your life, and then I start asking, well, what have I done lately that's been legendary, right? I remember when my company broke $1 million of revenue, that was, to me, was legendary, right? How do you break 10 million and 20 million and 100 million? So my point to you is, people of interest have this insatiable desire to do significant things in the world. You know, Maxwell always said, once you've tasted significant success will never satisfy you. And I think that's an incredible statement. Once you've done something big, like once you've spoken at 10x in front of 10,000 people and had that kind of energy around you, what satisfies you?
Yeah.
You right? Like you got to get yourself excited. So what if you've been watching The Last Dance with Michael Jordan and the guys, if you notice, Jordan creates these competitions in his mind. Any indignation, any slight, any challenge, anything, he needs a game to play. He needs something to pursue. I'm the same way. I need a big challenge. So I come in and create these crazy goals. And sometimes my president's like, man, where did that come from? And I'm like, man, I can't let myself get bored. Like once you make enough money, you know, let's just say you make $1 million to $5 million a year personally, you're making a good amount of money. You can pretty much have things that you want, right? So then maybe it ain't about the money then. Maybe it's about the game. And people of interest start going, okay, how many people can I affect on planet Earth? What's my next big play? How can I get on the biggest stages in the world? They're bored. They need something big, right? Spending time with Chuck McDowell last week, he's running a $100 million company, took it from zero to $100 million. He needs a game to fight. He needs a competition to be in. He needs something to win. People of interest are incredibly, they operate with the principles, you hear me. We go to bed tired and we wake up hungry. We believe it all goes to zero at midnight. And there comes a time when winter asks what you did all spring and summer. Okay, this becomes a full contact sport. How many people can we help? How many people can we touch? How many people can we impact? How many people? And we have a deep conviction. And the conviction is, I've had a revelation. That's that big dramatic moment. Because of my revelation, I now have conviction. Because of my conviction, I am now willing to take large amounts of action. Okay, large amounts of action. So that's how people of interest think. They're dissatisfied with their results. Look at Nick Saban after he won a championship one year. He was frustrated. They interviewed him after the game. After he won a championship, he was mad. And they're like, Nick, how do you feel about winning? He's like, well, I'm actually upset because these other coaches have gotten ahead of me in recruiting for next year. They've been out on a recruiting trail for 3 weeks while I've been preparing for the national championship game. He was actually mad because he won a championship because he thought the other coaches had 3 weeks leg up on it. That's a person of interest.
Yep. Well, and you mentioned something about your own story there that made me think about it. We're releasing in the next couple of days that we're going back to the Statler in Dallas, just because Vegas has shut down everything else for 8%. And for me, we had a good amount of people at the conference last year, but I know I could have got more there. And so I view this as a chance to almost rewrite a wrong or redeem a lost opportunity, or to really prove to myself that I could have done better and that I can do better this time. So yeah, it's those internal games. I loved listening to Jordan in The Last Dance. I loved how much Grover was on there, by the way, too, which was amazing. I loved him, dude. He even made the one up, with the one guy. I don't remember the dude's name, but he said something about nice game, Mike, or something. And he said later, the dude never even said that to me. I just made it up because I was going to be good. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's what people of interest. I just want you to understand. I'm going to use a word here that I wrote down while you were talking. Common people are in the transaction business. Insurance is a transaction. It's a product you need. And I do believe it's a must-have versus a nice-to-have. And if you're not using that phrasing to sell, you should be. I would say straight up, I believe there's a lot of things in the world that are nice-to-haves, but insurance is not one of them. Insurance is a must-have versus a nice-to-have. You got to believe that when you're selling it. Okay, but a lot of people see insurance as a transaction. You sell me a policy, I give you a monthly payment. If anything happens to me, I got a fire policy. You come in and protect me, right? Like it's very transactional. I don't talk to you. I don't have a relationship with you. You don't change my life. You're just my insurance dude. I would totally look at that totally different, because if that's your mindset, you're never going to get a bunch of referrals, because referrals come from engagement. You're never really going to be satisfied just selling policies. You may make a bunch of money, but I know people that do have money that are very unhappy. It's not going to be meaningful like you want it to be. So think of this. I want to replace that word. People of interest are in the transformation business. They're not in the transaction business. Meaning, if I'm Cody's insurance guy, his life is truly transformed through a relationship with me, through the mentoring, through the coaching, through the engagement, through the support, through the networks. Like, it's transformative. And when you get to, very few insurance people think like this. And I've coached some of the top insurance people in the world. I'm talking everybody, every type of insurance you can imagine. Final death, PNC, whole life, you name it, I've coached them. And here's the deal. The ones that are really, really good understand work is the distribution channel for my talent. I can be a transformative figure in another person's life by being their insurance person. Yeah. And the more I'm engaged with my current clients, the more I transform their life, and the more I transform their life, the more they bring me new people. People don't bring you referrals when it's a lukewarm experience. So think of all of your customers right now as passive, that's lukewarm. Detractors, they don't like it. Promoters, they do like it. Or advocates, they're fighting for you. People of interest build deep advocacy in other people, right?
Yep. Is that I mean, is that something that you see a lot in our space specifically, that people struggle with, is creating that engagement with their clients and building those bonds and turning it, and really in the insurance industry, we're known to like be policy peddlers, if you will. We're selling a policy and we're on to the next one, and you know, who cares what happens to that person or that relationship, or maybe I'll get a referral, but you know, who cares, I'll sell another one. And I'll just go back, I'll just get more leads. I don't need referrals, I don't need people, you know what I mean? And I think I see that a lot. Is that what you see the most in our space specifically?
I see it a lot in financial services. Like across the board in anything financially, in financial services. So what I would tell you that I really want you to get, this is a national average I use, 5.7 referrals. Most industries say if you do a great job with your current clients, they should be worth 4 to 6 referrals over the lifetime of the consumer. So I want to replace the word. What if I told you I don't believe in customer service? Now people are like, oh my God, you don't believe it? No, I believe in customer engagement, right? If I just serve you, Cody, when you have a problem, if I just deliver the policy when you have a problem, well, that's what you're paying me to do anyway.
Yes.
If I engage with you, even if I just have a conversation with you, like with you, you know, when I think about you with the concept, I call you and we talk through it. Now, let's say that one phone conversation helps you make $1 million. Let's say it gives you an idea. Let's say it helps you with your team. Let's say it helps you work through something, whatever. That's a whole lot more valuable than me just serving you when you need it.
Yes.
So I think many people have got in this mind, the word transaction means to discard. Okay, so transaction means you're my insurance guy. I'll call you when I need you, but I don't need you. Like I don't talk to you. I don't want to engage with you. I have discarded you until I need you.
Yeah.
That's not transformation. Transformation is, you know, I talk to my insurance guy, like my insurance, one of my insurance guys is in my coaching program. And he, you know, he's there anytime I call him, that's good. But I'm always telling him, engage with me more. Check on me more, right? Know that my wife's about to have a boy in a week or two. Like be involved in my life. When I'm not thinking about you, I'm not talking about you. When I'm not talking about you, I'm not referring you. So you may have a whole division of your company, or if you're just a single agent, part of your day should be contacting your current customers. And you say, now, how do you do that? We prospect in the mornings for 2.5 hours, and then I give my sales team permission to call on our current clients in the afternoons. So what I mean by that is that's a form of prospecting, engaging with our current clients to get referrals. Now, they talk to them. How's it going? How can we help you? The coach who's got a few ideas. Have you watched class? Hey, is there anybody we need to be helping? Anybody else we need to be helping? See, to ask for referrals easy. Cody, if I've helped you get to a better place in your life, do you mind helping me reach more people? And you're going to say no. Who else do I need to be helping? Oh man, I know a dude. Like you gave me a referral the other day for a guy that signed up for my couples retreat.
Yes.
Right? It was the easiest sale we ever made. I even hate I handed it off to Eric White. He got a commission on that, and I just gave him the dude's name and number.
Yeah.
Now my point is, you made the sale for me. right? The sale was already made. You told him it was a valuable thing. Go on the couples retreat. You'll enjoy it. The sale was made by you, not me, not by Eric. All we did was collect information. So my point is that's a referral. And I would guess over the course of our relationship, you've sent me 4 to 6 referrals or more. But even better, you've put me in front of thousands of people. See, that's the way people need to think about it today. In the old days, I knew Cody. I helped Cody. Cody goes and introduces me to 3 people. The new days, Cody introduces me to his Instagram audience, and he introduces me to the webinar, and he introduces me to the insurance industry, and he introduces me to the Wolf of Wall Street, and he introduces me to whatever. Now in the new days, like I'm doing a thing with Tim Story this afternoon, and you know, every time Tim Story talks about me on his page, it's to 500,000 plus people. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
So is that one referral, or is it 500,000 suspects? It could be clients. So my point to you is people of interest. I understand the impact that I could have with you, and I got to understand the impact I could have. So we have what's called the top 25. I talk about this in the book, and if you guys want to get the book, the link is in the notes. We give you the book. I think you pay for the shipping. But if you want to get this book, I would take advantage. It's a small book that has a huge impact. Maybe it's $9 or $9.99 to ship it to you. But my point is, one of the things I talk about in the book is building out a top 25, where you have 25 deep and meaningful relationships with true influencers. Okay, Cody's in my top 25.
I was wondering.
Tim Grover's in my top 25, right? Tim Story's in my top 25. Brad Lee's in my top 25.
It's a good list to be on.
It's a great list to be on.
Good list to be on, man.
It's a power list.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. To build advocacy in you, I got to advocate for you. I got to fight for you. The way you build advocates is you fight for other people. So I'm constantly helping Bradley sell Lightspeed. I'm helping Tim Grover get speaking engagements. I'm helping Tim Story get speaking engagements. I'm helping, you see what I'm saying? I help these people with my influence. They help me with their influence. Well, so for you, yeah.
Well, and on that note, specifically, right? You talked about earlier how, you know what, you may give somebody one idea on a phone call, maybe worth $1 million, you know, or wherever, you know. The reason I referred that couples retreat so easily, and the sale was made before Eric got on the phone, whether he believes it or not, was because when I was at the couples retreat, my wife and I loved it. I got several ideas. I need a COO, right? Yep. We're doing millions of dollars of revenue, all these companies. I'm trying to do it all. That's stupid, right? So we hired that. Yep. I didn't have a personal assistant, right? I have that, right? We weren't having salespeople take disc assessments before we hired them. Now we're doing that, right? And those were just a few things just from one single event. And that's why I love having big time people in my life, even if I got to pay for it, because there's never been a dollar, and I've invested hundreds of thousands the last several years in like personal development, self-improvement, all that. There's never been a dollar that I didn't pick up something. You know, a lot of people, when they go into a relationship or they spend 25 grand over the course of a year or whatever, or 20 grand on tickets or four grand on a retreat or whatever, they get to where they're like, well, my life didn't immediately change. You know, I was making 100 grand at Coach. I'm not making $1 million the next day. And, you know, I didn't take away 4,000 ideas, you know. Well, what you said earlier makes a ton of sense. And what I use, that's why I love the power of events. If they connect with one speaker, and maybe it's you, and they get one idea that they go back and implement that impacts their business or changes something, think about how much just those 3 simple ideas are going to make me over the course of the next 30 years, you know?
Yeah. And when it comes to these conferences, if you don't go to a conference and pick up new business or new strategic partnership to pay for the conference you went to, then that's your fault.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even speak at 10x3, but I bought a suite for 50,000. I think it was 50,000, and we generated $200,000 of business in the suite.
Yeah. And
I didn't even speak on the main stage. I just had my own little conference up there in the suite.
Isn't that how y'all sold me the retreat too? Because I went up to the suite.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
And we signed up 25K members, and we, you know, my point is, people of interest are moving about the planet and they're creating. They're not still, they're creating new ideas, new programs. Now, one thing I want to speak to is this concept of a primary skill. People of interest, let's go to that niche concept. I want, if you're watching this today, I want you thinking, because I've had to do this over the last 18 months. I've had to pick a lane, right? And the reason I wanted to pick a lane is because I do believe that people who have a primary skill and that skill is marketed make the most money. Okay, so I want you to think right now, what is your primary skill? Is it your communication? Is it your ability to market your services? Is it your ability to connect to people? Is it the ability to solve problems? What is your primary skill? Now, I want you to think about this. Tom Cruise charges $25 million to do the Mission Impossible films. And he does his own stunts. His primary skill, right? And if you watch those, or Jack Reacher or whatever, you see, you're like, damn, this dude's good.
Yeah.
And because he's so good, they know they can invest 25 million in him and they'll make $100 million off the movie. So it's a good bet, right? There's a difference between what something costs and what it's worth.
Yes.
Okay. People of interest have such a strong skill that people will overpay for that skill. Now, let me give you an example, because a lot of you compete on rate, and you're always asking, how do we sell? We got our rates higher than somebody else's rates. I get it. My banker, I have a banker that I do commercial real estate deals with, and he was charging me 5.5% interest on my loans, which would be considered high. In-house bank loans, not mortgages. These are on commercial properties, sometimes big properties. And other bankers were constantly coming to me saying, man, coach, we can get you a 5% rate. We can get you a 5% rate. That's the cost. And so I go to my banker and I'm like, you know, these other bankers are courting me heavily and they say they can get it to me at 5%. And he said, man, I'm so glad you asked me that. I've been waiting on you to ask me that question. And he turned around and he pulled out a spreadsheet out of his thing. And he said, here's the difference between 5 and 5.5%. Here's how much money it is. It's like $400 more a year. And he looks me straight in the eye and he said, am I worth $400 more than those bankers to you? And I'm like, you are. You know why? You got a primary skill. You break ideas down. You coach me through it. You keep me out of trouble. You make sure I'm not over leveraged. You take me to dinner. You're involved in my life. Like $400 more a year for that? Absolutely, you're worth it. Now, my point is this. If you don't know what your primary skill is, and many people do not, they don't know how to position themselves as an expert at that skill. So what are they? They're just general insurance agents. Generic. You're not the heart surgeon. You need to learn to position yourself as that dude is the #1 guy at that. That's how he makes a lot of money. Like I'm coaching insurance guys that make $4 million a year, guys. And guess what? They're not selling 27 different things. They're selling one thing. And they're great at that one thing. Okay, when you and I did those events with Ramiz and those people, what did he get on there and say? They got one product. They sell one product. They become a master at selling one product. That's a niche expert. So just study the people in your industry and say, what are they doing to make all that money? They're not doing 100 things. They're doing typically one thing and they become the best at that one thing. What is your primary skill? That's what I would ask.
And that's specifically for me has changed. It hasn't really changed, but it's got more clear these last few years, because a couple years ago, you were asking me that, even a year and a half ago, you were asking me that a lot, because I'm in a lot of different lanes, and now we've got to where other people are focused on the other lanes, and I'm an insurance sales trainer, and that's it. Like, I love sales, and when it comes to insurance, I believe I can help someone sell a policy as good as anybody, and before, though, there was a lot of pieces, right? So that's strong.
Well, I think, and I'm guilty of this, is that we confuse the market. And I'm going to use a word here, Cody, for a lot of people out there. It's called a success trap. And a success trap is you're really, really good. I have this talk with my president, Chelsea Colbert, a lot. She can do anything. She can do accounting. She can negotiate. She can help me get speaking engagements. She can manage a team. But many of those things, she gets caught in doing things of low value that are not married with her top skill. That's a success trap. You can sell insurance, you can market insurance, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. But what happens is the market gets confused about what is it the number one thing. People of interest have this niche idea, this primary skill. Now you say, why are they people of interest? Because their skill is better than other people's skill.
Yes. Yes.
They're right. Does that make sense? Like when I match your skill up versus somebody else's skill, the person with the best skill is the one that's going to win. So if me and you are both selling insurance, but I have an incredible skill of connecting, an incredible skill of making people feel like $1 million, incredible skill of networking, an incredible skill of this, right? Then I'm going to win over you.
Yes. No doubt
Okay,
about it.
we did insurance for our company with the guy, and I like him. He's been the worst insurance agent I have ever seen in my life. We can't get him to call and check on us. I've called him and chastised him. I've tried to sign him up for the coaching program. Like I told my team, I'm like, this dude is terrible. Then I call his company one day to talk to his boss, and his boss tells him not to get in my coaching program because they have an internal coaching program. So here's what I told his boss. I'm like, your internal program sucks. Because if this is what you're teaching him to do, not call his customers, not engage, follow up 7 days later, like it ain't working, man. His skills are so poor. His communication skills are so poor. So what happens to that guy is at the end of our year, we fire him and we get somebody else who's better, right?
Yep.
And so skills win when it comes to people of interest. Now, let's talk about what you can do to become a person of interest. And I really, for those of you watching, I'm going to go deeper on this concept at 8% Nation. This is going to be my topic that I'm going to be talking about. I'm kind of giving you some of this stuff, but if you can come to Dallas, I promise you, I have spoken at this conference back-to-back years. It's one of the best conferences I speak at ever. The talent is ridiculous.
Can be good.
It's just ridiculous. And to be at the Statler in those settings where you can hang out with each other and do one-to-ones and take meetings, man, I'm telling you, you need to get your ticket to this. Dallas is a cool city. It's got a lot of energy. So I'm going to be speaking on this concept deeper at that. And the more you hear it, the more likely you're going to become a person of interest. But I want you to think of people of interest as there's a couple of ways you can become a person of interest. Number one, you need to have your own books. Okay. And Cody's working on that. You need to have your own books. You need to write a book. You need to have your own podcast. You need to be doing your own events. You need to be doing strategic partnerships. You need optics, meaning you need to be seen with people moving, circulating. You need to let people know I'm an interesting person. I'm living an interesting life. Don't try to sell insurance. Sell this, that you are a person that people want to be connected to. Let me go back to what I said earlier. You're a person of increase. You're a person of advancement. So you would see me traveling the world at different properties that I own, flying on my jet, doing these things, right? Different offices. You'd see me working with my team. I want to show you. I don't want to tell you what I do. I want to show you on Instagram when you follow me. Like this dude is moving about the planet. He's always got something coming up. He's always doing something. He's always partnering with somebody. I don't see this enough, Cody, in the insurance world. I see too much stagnation. It's like I can't, like I don't understand. Like, what are you doing, man? You need to be out there partnering with people. You need to be hosting events. You need to be having podcasts. You need to be writing books. If I stop today, by the way, insurance would be one of the fields I would look at going into. Number one, because I think there's a fortune to be made. I love the residual. I think it's a great business model. But if I started Coach Burt's Monster Insurance tomorrow, don't think for 1 second that I would change one thing that I currently do. I would be speaking, writing books, being on podcasts, traveling the nation, doing strategic partnerships. There was nothing, because I hear a lot of people say that, oh, you're in the motivational space. So you know, if you were selling insurance, you wouldn't do any of these things. And I'm like, no, I would be doing, right at my book, Person of Interest, I would be doing everything that's in that book if I was selling insurance. I would be the only dude in my city doing all these things. And guess what? That would help me dominate my city, because nobody in it, it's the thinking. that you have. A lot of people in financial services goes, well, my compliance won't let me do that. And oh, they won't let me talk about it. They won't let me sell insurance. I'm telling you, you don't need to be selling insurance. You need to be selling beliefs. You need to be
Yes.
selling convictions. You need to be
Yes.
selling energy. You need to be selling, man, everybody in town wants to be associated with me because I'm the coolest insurance guy in the world. That's what you need to be selling. Okay. And when you get that concept, you go, man, I want to be a POI. I want to be a person of interest, man. Okay. So let's close it down here. We'll take any questions, Cody. This is a small piece of what I'm going to talk about at that conference.
That's it.
And we'll do masterminds. I think we're even going to do a private mastermind or something at your conference for key people. And I will talk about any of the 16 books that I've written. But People of Interest, man, is probably the coolest book that I've ever written. And like I said, we gave it to you today. I think all you got to pay for is the shipping. If you go there, pay for the shipping, get the book, the links in the chat box. And it's a small book, but I'm telling you, the people who have earned the most money, Cody has taken this concept and done a lot with it. My top real estate agents I've coached have done a lot with it. My top insurance people have done a lot with it. Matter of fact, the guy making about $4 million a year selling insurance said this, the single greatest thing that helped him was reading my book, Person of Interest. He took that book and he created a concept from the book. So I'm telling you, this is where you want to go if you want to be a buyer versus a seller. If you want to get out of the commoditization business and get into the transformation business, this is a concept that I promise you you're going to want.
Yes, there's no doubt about that.
I got time for a few questions.
I'm going to put the we got a question about the link, so I'm going to put the link in the chat, and I'm going to answer one of the questions with it. Eric says, "I will buy that right, meow." So that's good. I think that's pretty close to now. So that sounds good.
Go get it.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. I mean, there's times in life when you connect with somebody, and they give you something, you take it. You take it. And I know that to be true. So Christopher says, actually, let's go to Melissa's. How do you? I would love to, as we're getting a couple questions, I'd love to finish with this too. How do you build confidence? You've built confidence as a muscle for you at this point.
Confidence is the memory of success. And the way you build success, let's go back to those ingredients. People of interest have knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more confident you will be. The stronger your skill is, the more confident you'll be. The higher your prey drive is, the more confident you'll be. So think of confidence as the caboose on a train to knowledge, skill, and desire. So if I want to grow my confidence, I need more knowledge, I need more skill, I need more desire. I need more repetition, I need more role play, I need more testing, I need more coaching, right? Confidence comes to you when you work the muscle. Like you talked about what kind of shape I'm in. I mean, it's because I went from 191 to 168. I'm in the best shape of my life. But here's the deal. I made a simple decision to go pro in my health. So I'm out working out every morning. I'm eating the right things. I'm in better shape. So here's my point. What does that do to my confidence? I'm a whole lot more confident than I was a year ago. Okay. See those pictures of me, the chubby face. I can't believe Mel Cole even let me get that chubby. Now here's my point. My point is now I was a stone cold killing machine, but now I really feel like a stone cold killing machine. Now, right now I'm boom, let's go. Let's do this because I made a decision. So confidence, I write about this in a book called Swag, by the way. I don't want to confuse the people, but in Person of Interest will give you a lot of confidence. Trust me.
Yeah, well, and the dude, I haven't even been on the jet yet. Can you believe that? As close as we are, I'm in the top 25. We talk almost daily, and I haven't even been on the freaking jet yet, man. I mean,
I haven't even been on it in the last month. It's just been sitting down there waiting for me to go somewhere.
Yeah. It's just eating up your money right now.
Yeah, dude. Trust me, I pay the bill. I pay that bill every month thinking, dang, we better start flying somewhere or renting this puppy out.
No doubt. Donovan said, what's the best way to figure out your free prize?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a great question, Donovan. That's a very intelligent question. I want you to think of the free prize. As you remember in the old days, we had Cracker Jacks that had a little gift in the bottom of them, and Lucky Charms had a gift. Nobody ate Lucky Charms because they're any good, right? They got a little gift in there. Or when I was growing up, we bought baseball cards and had a little stick of bubble gum in there. Now, here's what I want you thinking. The free prize, it could be, Donovan, it could be your knowledge. It could be your skill. It could be your desire. I find out that a lot of people's free prize is their attitude. A lot of people's free prize is your willingness to go the extra mile. A lot of people's free prize is I introduce you to my networks, right? Like I think my free prize is my contagious confidence. You know, I not only have confidence, I know how to spread that confidence to another person. I know how to, when I get done with you, I make you think you can go do anything. Okay. Now where that comes from, I don't know. Years of being a coach, but at the end of the day, it's just a little sweetener, and I got a real good attitude. So when you think about this concept, I think you need to dig deep, because that's really what you're selling, right? I compete against the big boys and big girls every day. Cardone, Tony Robbins, even Wolf of Wall Street. Those are competitors to me.
Yes.
And I have to have something that they go, we like this dude. This is our guy right here. Those guys are killers, but that's my dude right there. And I attract people like that who say, I like all those guys, but you're my guy, man. There's something about you I just really resonate with. And so that's my free prize. So Donovan, you got it. You just need to uncover it and then package it and sell it.
Yep. I'd love to see some monster stocks by 8%, by the way. You know, maybe we can have some of those on the table. You know, I don't know, Mel, you listening?
I did just get a monster suit in that my Clothier had tailored in the monster logo inside, and it's in a custom suit, and it was bad to the bone. Like it was
probably smaller than your previous one from a couple of years ago, you know, so it probably.
Oh yeah, much smaller. I can't even wear all those old suits. They swallow me whole.
Well, dude, thank you for being on this. I'm excited to have you at 8% again. Guys, please make sure you jump on this link that's in chat and in the questions. Grab he's giving it away for free. You have to grab it. I'll freaking pay the shipping and handling for you if you won't. Like, I'm just telling you, you need to get it. Unbelievable job, Coach. I love being around you. Appreciate your time very much.
Yeah, this is fun, man. First, thank you to all the people that showed up and stuck with me for an hour. This is a big concept. I'd love to see you at 8%. I'd love to see you more. And Cody, thank you for putting this on. I've been very excited about doing this for you.
You got it, Coach. Appreciate it. Thank you all for being a part of How to Become a Person of Interest. There's one person that knows how to do it. Coach Micheal Burt. See you guys at 8%. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
Hey, you're making some big money, right? Your wallet's getting all fat. You're getting excited when you go to the bank. What are you gonna do now, right? You need to know some tax strategies. I got the video for you. Click on that with my buddy JD Frost, and I'll see you there.
An individual tax return has a 1 in 100 chance of being pulled for audit. If you make over $1 million, you have a 1 in 10 chance.